Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. Alright, NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race tonight at Dover, or this afternoon at Dover. No lights there, so it's going to be a late afternoon or early afternoon race. It's going to be race 9 of the 2026 season. 4-4 in my picks, not great in the Truck Series. This will actually be the 22nd race for the Truck Series at Dover. First one since 2020, first one in 6 years. The EcoSave 200 miles, 200 laps, 3 stages, 45, 45, and 110. Practice is early afternoon, and then the race is going to be late afternoon today. 16 of the previous 20 winners, of the last 20 winners, qualified in the top 10, so that qualifying run will be definitely important. Only 3 races have had 5 or less cautions, so we're going to have some cautions at this race. Now, there are no stats. Obviously 2020 was 6 years ago. There is a handful of drivers, more than a handful, maybe a dozen drivers that raced the trucks at Dover back in 2020 or before, but a lot of those stats aren't going to be relevant. So what I'm actually going to do is look at similar tracks, which the only similar track to Dover is going to be Bristol. Concrete, high banked, half mile, so they're not going to completely go, coincide, but it'll give us an idea of what to look for here at Dover. We do have some notables in the field. We have Brandon Jones in the number 1 for Tricon Garage, William Sawalich in the number 5 for Tricon Garage, the number 7 for Spire Motorsports, one and only Kyle Busch, which I think he should end up at Spire next year in the Cup car and replace Michael McDowell, and McDowell go to RCR, do like a trade. The number 22 will have Natalie Decker. The number 25, that all-star truck for Colic Racing, and Ram will have Clint Boyer return to the driver's seat. Tony Breitinger will be in the number 27. The number 62 for Hamar Friesen will have Christopher Bell. Destiny Spurlock will be making her Truck Series debut. I know it kind of sucks because she missed Watkins Glen DQ, but they had some failures with tech, so they lost 20 minutes of practice time. So she kind of gets behind the 8 ball there. Don't know a lot about her. I just know she is comes from the NHRA side, which obviously she'll learn really quick. Unfortunately, the NASCAR fans treat female drivers way different than the NHRA fans treat their female drivers. In the number 77 for Spire will be Carson Hocevar. Now, there's been 3 races this year that Carson Hocevar and Kyle Busch and Spire Equipment have gone head-to-head. Kyle won at Atlanta. Carson won at Texas. They finished 1-2. And then in Bristol, they finished 8th and 9th. Busch 8th, Carson 9th. What these two could do in a full season in Spire Cup cars would be hilarious. Because neither of them are going to give an inch. But they're going to race each other clean. That's what they did in the Truck Series. I love how Kyle won Atlanta and thanked Carson. And when Carson won Texas, he talked about racing with Kyle. It was like, that's kind of really cool. That young kind of, almost the young Kyle Busch with the veteran Kyle Busch. Again, no Dover stats, so we're going to kind of run down some things at Bristol. I'm only going to look at the last 3 Bristol races, the 2 races in 2025 and then the one this spring. Christian Eckes, average finish of 5.0. Ben Rhodes, 6.0. Kyle Busch, like I said, finished 8th in that race. Gio Ruggiero, 8.66. Carson Hocevar finished 9th in that race. And Lane Riggs, 9.66. When it comes to average running position for those 3 Bristol races, Christian Eckes 2.37, so I look for him to be up front. Kyle Busch 8.59, Ben Rhodes 8.67, Lane Riggs 9.36, Caden Honeycutt 9.61, getting his first career win last week, and then Gio Ruggiero 10.02. With 8 races down in the Truck Series schedule so far, Caden Honeycutt leading the way with a 29-point lead. He got that 1 win last week. Chandler Smith with a win, like I said, minus 29. Lane Riggs with a win, minus 43. Gio Ruggiero, minus 55. I know he kind of got the short end of the stick there last week at Watkins Glen. And it sucks because they were going to rescind that penalty, but Gio came down pit road, and you can't unwound that. It's not like you can have him come back down pit road, put the scuffs back on, which now they kind of cooled off a little bit. It's not going to be fair to him. I wish either they would have waited the pit or they would have got that figured out first. I hate it for Gio. Not saying he would have won, but he kind of got, unfortunately, a mistake happened. NASCAR apologized for it. You just can't put him back up front with fresh tires. Nobody else has fresh tires. There's a lot of things that could go wrong with all that, and I just hate that for him. But he's currently 4th in points. Christian Eckes is back in the Truck Series this year. He's at 5th in points, minus 71. Ben Rhodes, minus 84. Ty Majeski, minus 87. Tyler Anker, minus 118. Daniel Hemrick, minus 123. And Stuart Friesen sitting there 10th in points, minus 130. On the outside looking in, we have Jake Garcia, minus 1. Brendan Queen, minus 10. And Justin Haley, minus 14. So those Ram trucks have had some decent finishes this year. They're getting after it little by little. And like Chris Rice has said multiple times, with the Ram program and even the 2 Cup car program, they're on an island by themselves. They don't have simulation. They don't have all this stuff that other teams have. They've built this completely from scratch. And I know Chris has talked about they're starting to basically do their own bodies now. And then I think Michigan, they're going to have the first ever, I think they're going to call it CK1 or CR1. CR1. It's Chris Rice 1, get it? It's going to be the first in-house built truck. So that's going to be exciting to watch Ram kind of take that next step. I know a lot of the silly season stuff coming out. And I know somebody called in the XM radio, NASCAR radio, and said that they wouldn't be surprised if Kaulig didn't sell both of their Cup charters, and then when Dodge came in the Cup, they got the free ones from NASCAR. I don't see Chris Rice doing that, because then you're basically running a full season the next year with you're not running your Cup team, which will make you farther behind, or you're going to run unchartered, and you're going to lose a lot of money. No, what I think is going to happen with all this, I think next year, you're going to see Rick Ware Racing. They're already selling 1 charter to Legacy Motor Club because they have 2, currently 1 leased to RFK. The leased RFK charter goes back to Rick Ware, I believe, and the one currently Rick Ware is using gets sold to Legacy Motor Club. I think the one that RFK is currently leasing for the 60, I think they buy that from Rick Ware. And if Dodge doesn't come to Cup in 27, so I think it's highly unlikely right now, in 27, Rick Ware will basically use that charter money and either run a full-time unchartered car or run a part-time car. And then in 2028, when Dodge comes to Cup, I think Rick Ware gets the 3 free charters from the OEM charters. Kaulig gets 1. You have 2 teams, Rick Ware, Kaulig Racing will be your 2 Dodge teams. And I'm thinking Dodge could possibly get somebody in a current team to switch, and hopefully then have 3 Cup teams running with the Dodge program. Just if you look at the way the landscape is right now, that is definitely possible. I could see Hayek even moving because they have the charter. They signed a longer-term agreement there with Ricky Stenhouse, so we'll see what happens there. All right, the EcoSave 200 from Dover. Do I think those Rams are going to win? No. I don't think they're on the verge of winning yet. They're on the verge of getting top 10s. They're on the verge of maybe getting some top 5s. And you've got to take baby steps in this sport. So the 4 picks to win is going to be Kyle Busch. Always got to pick him when he's in the field. Christopher Bell, because he did win at Bristol. I know Bristol, one's a half mile, one's a mile, but they're still high banked concrete racetracks. Concrete's going to race different than the asphalt. Christian Eckes, getting the way he ran it at Bristol, and then Chandler Smith are the 4 picks. So Kyle Busch, Christopher Bell, Christian Eckes, and Chandler Smith. Those are the 4 picks to win the EcoSave 200 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race. As always, thanks for watching the Herbert Sports Show, and don't just have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Herbert Sports Show, your YouTube leader, sports channel content.